But we are. We've got Paul in the house. We've got Bernard in the house.
Chill.
And Vicky is in the house. Bernard being the most excited for himself.
It's been a while.
So we are playing Mario Party Superstars. We will go back to Jamboree at some point. We just wanted to switch it up. Pun intended. So we're going to skip all that. Set out to become, or set out on an adventure to become a superstar. Let's do that. It's crazy that for so long there was no Jamboree. You were just playing this one. Or at least I was for how many years that was. I wasn't really recording it like that until we know how to play. Start over.
Mario, yeah.
Oh, is it that time again? Damn Skippy, it's that time again. So get some snacks. Paul says you better have some snacks. He's got some Chex Mix that he's eating, so get your stuff together. Who's all there? I guess he missed the intro. Paul is here, Bernard is here, and Vicky is here. Everyone is ready to go. Who picked Donkey Kong, Paul?
Yep.
Alright. I don't know who won last time. I think it was Javi, who was not here. And before Javi won, Jamie won. And Jamie's not here. And before Jamie won, Vicky won. So we're going to let Vicky pick.
Yeah, that one looks good.
This one? Okay.
I don't know.
Hold on, you didn't even look at them. Now, pay attention to the difficulty because 5 stars would be the hardest, 1 star being the easiest. So I know you saw the Yoshi one, and that's fine, but this one's a little more challenging. This one, 3.
That's the one we played last time.
We did do that last time. Woody Woods, because they ran out of ideas to name these. Horrorland. Okay, we'll do Yoshi's Island. And we'll do a quick game of 15 turns for 45 minutes since it's late and what have you. So, unlike the others, they let you pick what kind you want. So we can do all types, which is a mix. You can do family games, you can do action games, skill, GameCube, Nintendo 64.
All done.
Yeah, I would say all types.
If it's not, you let it go.
Oh, probably it's everything in all types. It means it's going to be random, like what? Let's go. Brandon says, "What's up, party people?" Yes, Brandon, run up the comments. Please run them up. Need more comments on videos. Need more likes on videos. Y'all are doing okay on subscriptions. I could always use more subscriptions, but likes in the comments on the videos. Need more of that. And I'm not just saying Brandon, I just mean anybody watching at some point. Please leave a comment on the video, even if the comment is a hey. You know, that's preferably you want comments that's like engaging, like, oh, this part was funny, or I like this part, or I didn't like that part. But if you guys start out with heys and hellos, that's gets other people to say hey and hello, you know? The superstars stepped up and saved those Yoshis. What a hero. Look at how bad those graphics were back then. Yoshi had all these polygons and everything. But we thought that was like great because that's better than what we had. They've been waiting a very long time. Today's been like today. It's time to find out who's the next superstar. Let's get to it. Toad's in charge from here on out, okay? Yes. Alright, let's show you. This is Watermelon Island. Look over there. So what's in this magic deck that you've got, Paul? Is it like a mix of cards or just random?
It's a mix of cards, and there's like, I think two types of cards that I think you do like two groups of cards.
Okay. Casually try to look through it. Actually, I'm gonna save it. I'll save it where I can record that. And I do have this pack here. We actually went to McKay for what felt like an hour. We were sorting through those, and I built the deck already. Luigi is second. Of course, I rolled a 1. Who's Toad? Oh, duh. I keep thinking that Toad is a character. That's because Bryce usually picks Toad. So go ahead and hit A button, Yoshi. Hey, but a good book once said, first shall be last and last shall be first. So. Okay, Toadette's here. Donkey Kong or something. Sony. See, you don't usually pick him, but maybe Shy Guy is not in this one?
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, okay. So I told him the story about how bad the year of Luigi was, and he's like, I'm gonna pick Luigi. I feel sorry for Luigi. Okay. I just keep rolling ones, man. What's happening here, though? Oh, that ruins it for the rest of y'all. Oh, no! I mean, for the rest of y'all, it's pretty much a...
Really?
Catch you later. Or catch you, letter. My brain auto-corrected it. Oh, so we're gonna pick up the mail? Oh, wait. You don't just catch it. You gotta do something with it. Where do you put it?
Oh, Shy Guy's trying to steal them. Or we're handing them to him. We're supposed to.
Oh, you're supposed to give them to him, I guess. So you're picking up letters and you hand them to Shy Guy.
Oh, okay.
Take my letter, you freak.
Stop! If you just stand still for a second, he comes to you.
Okay. Oh, really?
I think.
Yeah, he came over my way. Well, what happens when everyone has a letter in their hand? Does they come over to all of you? I don't remember. See, he's ignoring me.
Get over here.
He's ignoring me the whole time, dude. That was so lame. You monkey ass. We're gonna get you.
You have no choice.
Nothing you can do.
Luigi time!
There.
Straight up.
No, you don't have to go through the swamp, but you know. I don't think he would have taken but like one coin from you, and then everybody else who subsequently follows has to pay more.
Did he put her back?
Yep.
Hey.
So I don't know if that helped you or hurt you, because I don't remember where the star was.
No, they put the star back where it was, so now he's away from it.
That helps me though. So, you know.
Ah, really?
Okay.
There's those pastries over there too. Finally a good number. Yeah, fine, you greedy bastard. Can I at least land somewhere that gives me some coins? Okay. I needed that lucky spot, but I'll take that. I was gonna say, you better not go back to Cashew Letter. Oh, this is Hotel Mario. Most of y'all haven't heard of that game. It was on the 3DO, Nintendo licensed out Mario to Philips, and they made a hotel game where you just go in and out of different doors. Oh, that put me back. No, we're not doing that. Oh, this sucks. I'm just kind of stuck here. Oh, there we go. Oh, Luigi won. It was on Mario Party 9, that's why it was a problem. I mean, who else did you think it was going to be? It's literally Hotel Mario's the game style. Not that I had it there. It was just all me. It was just all me. Was that enough coins though? Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. That was some mess right there. I'm coming for Donkey Kong. Vendetta! Got exactly what she needed. And no one robbed her of her money. So she was good. By no one, I mean Paul, who's currently eating my food and stealing my money at the same time. Tug of war, okay. To avoid irritation in your skin. So this is the infamous game back on Nintendo 64 where you had to rotate like this and people injured their hands and Nintendo had a lawsuit that they lost and had to pay out $15 million and give out a glove to everyone who had a Mario Kart game. So you can still do this to rotate it, but it's like, which side are you rotating? We're all against Bernard here, and I think you're rotating the left stick to pull.
Are you ready?
About as ready as I'm gonna be.
Oh,
How is
It worked.
Okay.
I'm on the board. I'm cool.
that's a mess right there. I mean, that was still a good item. He's like, oh no, as if he didn't get anything.
Luigi time.
What's Arma? I have 18 points.
You had 18 points.
Man. Yeah. 14.
Yeah. Oh no. Yes. Wow.
Don't take from me.
The obvious answer is the guy in the red tie.
Oh, really?
You gotta take 6 points, and you could have taken 20. Should have taken some Donkey Kong.
Oh man, still what? The 6 coins? Here we go. I am poor. Leave! 0!
Damn.
Oh
I need the mini game before my turn to get coins.
It would be nice to have money.
Sorry, I didn't do what you had to do it. Wasn't me.
Grab cherries, grab cherries.
Oh,
So you gotta get them and throw them to me.
Are you?
Am I not doing it?
Paul, you're not grabbing them.
I'm trying to grab it.
Right? It's just
Oh,
can't figure out how to cover it.
On the swing.
Okay.
Well, this will be fun.
I'm holding A.
yes, indicate, yeah.
But I don't think it's one of those things where you can hold it.
No, you don't hold it. You have to tap it
Even
right.
if I tap it. I'm not. You have to wait till I'm swinging that way too. I don't have any control over the swing.
Y'all are the worst swingers ever.
Okay, I'm getting a rhythm now.
I
Alright,
think you have,
whenever
I
you're
think
ready.
you have to wait to release until it's close to me. Okay, yeah, there you go. Now, yeah.
Looks like we're waiting on Yoshi.
We
Yeah.
have to wait.
Wait on you.
We barely got him though.
That's close.
Yeah, it was.
It's a tough game, actually. It's just timing. No stars.
Yeah, nobody has it. Oh, Vicky has a star.
I'm just speaking for myself. No stars, no money.
Yeah. That's a weird flex. No stars, no money. Dual income, no kids. No stars, no money.
Broke five,
Broke fibro. Me by me. That was the fraternity I voiced in school. Oh, I didn't even mean to do that.
Wiki time.
Okay. And it's right behind me.
You don't have money anyway.
Yeah.
So when you get to somewhere you can get money, you just get something. Oh, this is everybody's coins are on the line.
So none of your coins are on the line.
Yeah, so your coins are on the line.
Yay.
You can only go up from here.
Basically. Oh, they gave me 3 coins. 3 to lose, okay. How? 3 coins. How much are they?
Doesn't matter.
20?
You can't collect 20.
Oh, okay. It's getting hot. Never bite into the jalapeno when it's Vietnamese.
Ah! Okay.
Start.
I need the money.
Winner. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got one.
Oh, I got one.
No. All got one.
You got one for second.
I guess at least I have 5 coins.
Hell yeah.
She said you could only go up from here.
Alright.
Oh no, he's making you go to the Bowser. Because you have no money, so you can't cross. Oh, well, at least you hit Bowser. I thought you were like right there on Bowser.
Oh, no.
Why is it always me and Donkey Kong?
team with you.
Start over on this?
You gotta tap the button, Yoshi. You have to keep tapping B button. Whatever button they tell you, you have to keep pressing. It's Bernard who's messing up now.
I'm messing up.
Yeah, you have to go to the machine. The machine on your left, top left.
There you go. Yeah.
Stand in front of it. Now you see the B button. Push the button, tap it. Now she can cross through. And now she's got to do the same thing for you.
Hold on. Jump up. Why?
Oh,
Sorry.
no, it's my fault. I didn't jump. I thought it was like right there in front of me where I could walk on it.
You both get on that, I guess?
No,
No,
one at a time.
You gotta make it turn around. And then when I get to the other side, I'll turn it around.
I did it! Oops.
Oh,
Oh, R.
oh.
I don't think we need to do that again, but if you want to.
Oh, shit. Oh, turn around.
I suck at this. Okay. Just land on it.
What kind of jump was that, Mario? Alright, we got this, Paul. Oh my goodness. Oh!
Ah.
That's mine right there. Oh, go for it. I don't even know what to do.
Damn, they beat us. Nice job, y'all.
It's practice. Not the game. Practice.
I feel like I have that somewhere.
Oh, we got some money. Real good.
There we go.
Practice. Not the game. Not a game. Practice.
Oh, of course, he moves it.
Oh.
Luigi time.
Yep, all the way over there.
Huh. I wonder.
Yes. Mario time.
Wait, hurry. Catch your thing.
Oh, snap.
I'll say, oh, damn.
Okay, why you gotta be rich?
I got some coins back. Revenge of being a star. You moved it twice where I could have got a star. But you might end up getting those coins right back if I screw this up. Okay, I can live with that.
I knew it was gonna be that game for some reason.
Oh no.
What is it about?
You have to memorize where all the stuff is. And then they're gonna move it all around and then you gotta put it back. And truthfully, there's no way to really practice for it. It's different every time, so.
Memory?
Yep. See? Every time it changes.
These little things keep coming from. I like to spray them. More of these ants.
Probably because of the rain.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Start.
took a picture of it, that's all.
For real?
It's one coin.
Who got one coin?
They give us one coin.
Works for me. Oh, whack-a-mole.
Sorry, try not to. See how this goes.
Start. Finish. Winner.
I'll take it.
But so
Now I gotta figure out how to stay in the hole longer.
so
That's what she said.
I was about to say that. That's what she said.
You don't want to say it.
So wait, were you supposed to get hit or not?
No, you weren't.
Well, I
The
didn't get
longer,
hit, so I
the
don't-
longer you, yeah, but if you just stay underground, that
I
doesn't
did
do
it. I
anything.
came up.
You come up, the longer it takes them to get to you. If you don't get hit,
Well,
they
no, I
add
would
more
come
time.
up and then I would move to another spot.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul is distracted playing with magic cards.
Luigi time.
Get a board. Okay, all the way over there. Okay.
And the ants got to these. And because they got to these, they are on the table. Awesome!
Oh yeah.
What you doing? Where's mine? Board again. Oh, close. Okay. So that's what just happened.
What just happened?
You swapped places with me, and I was like 7 from the star. Yeah.
Evil! Does he even have enough points?
Yeah.
I got money. And I got stuff. Yes.
It's like, how did they get up there without getting on?
Ah, crap. And I just hit up browser space. No, this sucks. Oh, I just got this star.
Alright, let's see what we got here. Still have had no items. No hidden blocks, nothing. See, you get so used to Jamboree, how like the dice rolls and you can like hold the button a certain way. This one, it's like, hey, what you hit is what you're getting. Oh! I didn't realize it doesn't like respawn you or anything either.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think we can
You say, woo!
yeah, 'cause I thought we were in the other side.
I know for once it's not me and you.
3,
Playing.
2, 1.
Dang.
Winner.
Makes you wonder how far we were from.
I don't think we're that far. I think that was towards the end.
Already? Wow, that was quick.
Congratulations.
Dang, now I'm the only one without a star.
You got the money though. You got some points there.
Oh, now he wants to do random.
Again. Easily 15 coins.
The thuggery! This gorilla is doing so much thuggery.
Hey, don't hit the player.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He said he's trying to change the way pull a paw means. He's trying to change it. Then he moves it in front of him again.
Luigi time.
All the way over there.
Oh,
I like that. How many coins do I have? 7. Who we stealing from?
not the person who stole from you, but
I'm seeing 65 coins over there. So
I already gave him his coins back.
well, I swapped spaces with you, so that's.
I know that too.
well, not you. Paul just stole coins from him, and then he steals from me.
It's cool. So he's got something else for Paul, apparently.
That time will come.
It was rotten. Could at least let me get a star.
Mario time.
I just saw Blue Yoshi laying in a hammock. Blue Yoshi in the cantaloupe, I guess that is.
Alright, scores.
I was in there.
Okay.
Ah, shit, I was too far. Thought I was in there.
Oh no.
No, we can.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's bad. I'm usually better at that game too. Freaking eyes hurt for some reason. Not making excuses. Just they were irritated earlier.
Oh, I got
Ooh. I mean, everybody has some coins.
Oh no! No!
Give a star to Donkey Kong.
Wait, what?
Oh!
No.
That's evil. Where's my Chris Pratt? Oh snap! Well, show's over. She's gonna eat Paul's face.
I don't know what enemy now. No hard feelings, She said it.
I mean, it doesn't get more clutch than that. He picked the star first, got himself to receive the star,
Yeah.
and then picked someone who actually had a star.
That's wild.
That is super rare that works out like that. Because I was like, oh, let him pick me because I don't have a star. And then he gets nothing. He picked one person who had a star, who was the next biggest threat to him coin-wise as well. That was super clutch, Paul. That also moved me out of 4th place. Sorry.
Yes.
See, even when you didn't pick him, who had the most coins, he still goes back and steals your star. Wild. The swamp is just getting rich off of everybody.
Mario time.
Nice. Got it.
Finally. Oh, I'm gonna do that here.
Leonard.
Well, 6 coins you can maybe steal from Paul. Look, I was only trying to roll a 9. Can't help it. I got the 10. I mean, I just say we just jump Paul. Alright. Bernard literally won by just doing nothing. Yes! It took you with me. Ah!
I'll take that. But I'm in 3rd. Okay.
I'll take that, but I'm in 3rd. It does.
From Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Somebody sent a video on either menu packs or what they're about to have in their fall menu. I think it's the fall menu. Yep. Let's see. The board. What do we have? Oh, okay, it's down there. Okay.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Lucky space. I'll take that.
Yeah, that'll help. This is not gonna be fun for her. Hmm. There's something she can't even use. And then moves it right back over there behind her. What a game.
Mario time.
No, we're not going there. I'd rather go here. Yep, sure. Can I get an item, please? I haven't had an item all game.
That doesn't really help.
What? Forget it.
Huh. Oh, this is a fun one. You can do this one. You just gotta hit us.
Ah.
Stop aiming for me.
That doesn't really give us much room to.
No, especially when Paul is focused on magic cards and in the way. Paul.
Mario time.
Oh, they gave you a golden pipe because they predicted it. You were gonna get a. Oh, they gave you a free star, basically. Wow. Nice, he did it. Okay. But not enough coins. Ooh! This could be the revenge here. Yeah. What time is it? Adventure time! Wow. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Interesting.
Luigi time.
Know what I must do. Yeah.
He's like, I have to have it, no matter what. Now, if you roll 2 ones, that's gonna be awful. Oh!
No! Okay.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
What's the prophecy not come true with that?
Hey, if Jamie was here, that might have happened.
It's the prophecy!
Yes,
Okay, so that puts Bernard at 2. 10 coins. Are you gonna switch it? Please don't switch it. Okay.
start.
You gotta press it faster than that.
Oh, that sucks.
Finish.
I didn't know what was going on with that. Okay.
What would happen if you had the little Bowser?
Sounds like he said, YOLO!
Yep.
Oh! Oh!
Oh, hidden block.
Oh, come on, another star.
Another one? Ah.
Oh.
That's nice.
Mario time.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
From worst to first, baby.
You get clapping every time you get a star.
I don't know. I would blame Paul for that.
Excuse me, sir. Wait a minute. Just
Oh, wait.
figure out what I'm doing.
How about avoid
You have to dive.
pressing the...
Yeah, you gotta keep pressing A and you gotta.
Looks like we're waiting on Luigi.
Oh, me? I'm trying. Make sure I'm got my technique down.
Was I sleeping with my eyes open again?
He's like, I was asleep. That's why I wasn't talking. You guys were playing past the normal schedule.
Couldn't swim fast enough.
Even though Paul got there, I thought they would do more than one person. Oh, you know what? This thing froze. It's been froze since, like, you were playing the archery game.
Oh.
So we'll have to cut a lot of that out. It didn't even show me get the stars, nothing.
Oh no.
Well, catch people up to speed. We got 2 for Donkey Kong.
Yeah, 2 stars. Vicky got a star back. So yeah, missed all of that. And nobody said anything. Nobody said, hey, your stream's frozen.
I didn't catch it.
Not y'all, I'm talking about people who are watching. People are...
Look at me. Ah, figured. Figured.
Dang, Bernard's been just getting dumped on the entire game.
Stop taking my money.
But at least it was money and not stars, right?
Said how many?
Two. Yeah, I think it's whoever goes which one, whoever goes over second gets two.
Yeah. Wow.
I wanted the warp
Yes.
line.
27 to the star. Work line, okay.
Mario time!
I'll take it. Book squirm.
This one.
I'll knock somebody to New Jersey.
Like one of those electronic racetracks.
You got lost in this house.
I did it!
3, 2, 1.
I guess we're all right.
Oh no.
Oh crap.
Yeah, you were right there with him.
Yeah.
Sir, do you have a dime? Nope, no change.
Start. Finish. Got it.
Well, at least it wasn't Bowser Jr.
Luigi time.
Excuse me.
Oh, all the way over there.
So how much did you end up paying for your car?
I don't even remember. It wasn't a lot.
It was only $5 for that pack, right?
Yeah, I think it was like as much as you could fit into that plastic bag. It was like $5 or something like that.
I think it was the other pack.
Yeah.
sleeves?
Yeah, we took those. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, they didn't like come with it. They were some of the cards had them, so I mean, they don't ask you any questions. It's whatever you can get in the bag.
Yeah.
Wanted to.
Well, this works out for you. Could be a
Huh?
star. Oh!
Oh, I'll take it.
Yes, sir.
That is pure luck. Hey.
Oh.
Oh.
They only put me up like
Wow.
come on. Nice.
Mario time.
I was actually hoping to go over the other side to the ghost, but
Well, I don't think anybody was over there.
yeah.
But I mean, were they in front of it or past it?
No, I think Luigi was in front of it, or before. What's happening?
I did it.
Oh, should have up or down. That's what I was trying to
Oh, hold on.
Nice. Ah. Okay.
Nice.
That was close.
I'm guessing whoever's closest wins this one.
Alright. Is it a panic because it kept rushing me? I didn't mean to use that much power on it. I don't know, is this the last turn? Or is it the penultimate turn?
This is the. Going to the 14th round?
I think so.
Oh, I don't
Oh, Paul's first, no pressure.
Start. Yay!
You hit the whole leg. I don't like how they have to rush.
Mmm.
It's gonna be tight. Round 24.
Oh, you son of a Crichton!
Finish.
But those can make have kids.
Winner.
It could have been worse. Two turns. It can get crazy.
Okay.
Luigi time.
Board, I have no items. Stars on the other side.
Wow. Oh! You've got to buy the golden pipe. But you're only 2 away from the last turn, but at least golden pipe is guaranteed. You could also buy a mushroom and get it and save some of your money, but
For the next turn.
because the next turn is the last turn. So you either guarantee yourself the golden pipe, but you're paying 25 and then
Yeah,
another
no,
20.
I'm gonna take it because I just know one of you guys are gonna move it on me. That's
Oh, well, that's true. That could happen.
just know it.
Mario time.
Well, there, it's moved. We're trying to crush him. Basically, kind of like we're trying to corner him like in chess.
Oh, okay.
We gotta go in the same direction.
We space out.
No, because we can block obviously.
Oh, shit.
Whew.
Okay. Nice good one.
I mean, really, he did himself in on that one. He had got away and then flew too close to the sun.
Two more turns.
No, this is the last turn.
That is the last one? Oh.
Alright, well, hey, you get 10 coins.
Luigi time.
Okay.
He got another one, wow. So even after all the tomfoolery, he managed to come back and not only get stars back, but have a dominating lead.
You got the most money though. You got 91.
Yeah, the game isn't about having the most money, it's about having the most stars. So.
Yeah, I get it. But I think it's evenly balanced to where everybody has at least 2 stars. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, it felt like for half the game, hardly anybody had a star. It wasn't until this last, like,
Second place is the winner.
I did.
Like Joe Jackson.
Dang.
Place doesn't get
almost at the ghost. Could've-
It's not first. Second, you last. It's like, what? No.
Money belts, yay! So, didn't see any good cards in there?
You got quite a bit of demands, man.
Well, that's not my actual deck. That was the extra cards.
Oh, okay.
My actual deck is over there.
Oh.
You were looking at. Oh, I'll show it to you after this. Yeah, those were just extra cards. See, that's what we picked up in addition to what I took land-wise for the deck that I got off of Amazon. I got like some regular creatures off Amazon that didn't have any land. So I couldn't make any... You know, I had no energy to cast any of these creatures. We're talking Magic the Gathering. We're talking MTG. Not to be confused with MGT. If you know, you know. 25 to 7 though. Doesn't really mean much. MGT. Eyes look swollen, they're red, but we're going to finish this one out. We are playing Mario Party Superstars. We got Paul in the house. We got Bernard, who's winning this one. We have Vicky here. Bernard's so hyped he can't even hit the button.
There you go.
Oh, they gave him a bonus star for what I didn't see. What? They gave him both bonus stars? Oh, that was domination for Bernard right there. We don't even need to go through all this.
What was that?
Nice. Still not your Luigi. Yeah. Alright, so for those of you at home watching, like, comment, subscribe, share as always. For myself, for Vicky, for Paul, and our interim champion, Bernard.
It's great.
Yeah, we are going to see you guys in the next one.